and you as the physician meet the patient, the most important thing that you're doing is starting off the consultation before starting the consultation, you're getting prepped. You do not want to begin the appointment without your advisor, your manager, someone. And I literally, physically will block Dr. Epstein from going in, because the reality is the man's a busy human. He's got a lot of surgery every single day. I think you probably mentioned in the beginning, he's doing, between hair and plastic, several surgeries in a day. And so he comes out of the surgery like a bat out of Hades, and he's ready to go see his patient. And if I don't block him, he'll go in and just start talking with him. And he'll do a decently, very good consult, but he's not prepped. So I will literally give him one of these. Doc, let me go ahead and prep you. And what that gives us an opportunity to do as the salespeople is help the doctor to get educated on the patient. Now, this doesn't mean that the doctor, because the patient has a budget, is not going to recommend what the patient needs or is going to fundamentally change everything that they do. What it does mean is that they can sometimes tailor their consultation a little bit more to the goals and needs of the patient. So maybe you're about to see a patient who has two very reasonable options. They're a fairly good candidate for an augmentation, and they might be a candidate for an aug with a lift. And you find out that the patient is a little bit on a budget. You might be able to at least tell them, in my personal opinion, I would prefer that you did the entire thing, but I also understand that some of our patients need to stay within a budget. And in your case, even though I can't say this to everybody, you actually would get a great result from the augmentation alone. It would be even better with both. It also means that some of the time you'll go in and you won't be able to say that. You'll have to say, well, look, I know that Barbara said you're trying to stay within this budget. I can't say anything else other than you need the full procedure. But at least you're educated on what the patient is like, what they're thinking, what their concerns are, and you can tailor your consultation and go in mentally prepped. Once you do this about 10 times, you'll never go back. Don't approach the patient too soon. We just walked into the consultation. Too many doctors are like, hi, it's nice to meet you. This freaks out patients. This is your 10,000th consultation. This is their first, or maybe their second or third. There needs to be a rapport built. Anybody here love getting approached and touched by strangers? Not a good thing. Even if you're like, I like that person, you still want to go to dinner. You still want to get to know them a little bit, even here in Vegas. So, oh goodness. So you don't want to approach the patient too soon. Sit down. I call it the duck on water. We're all real busy. That's your patient advisors, that's me, that's your doctor, that's everybody in this room. We're busy people. You guys are masters, I've been told. It's a seminar for masters. So you're busy. Take the time to be a duck on water. Have you ever seen a duck on water? Underneath their little legs are flapping like crazy, but on top of the water, they're just like this, kind of gliding. So you've got to seem like you're not in a rush, even if you got 4 patients waiting. Take your time. Sit down. Lean back, build rapport, and then insulate. I just gave a talk in the other room. My analogy was, your patients are like a little baby egg, and you're sort of the mother hen, keeping it nice and warm and cozy so they feel comfortable, because comfort's so important. And by insulating, we explain the process. We build a little rapport, and we say, so Barbara, it's obviously great to get to know you. What I'm going to do is gather some of your goals. Then, once I understand your goals, I'm going to go ahead and give you a little bit of an exam, whether that's the nose or a body or whatever. Take a look and kind of show you what's possible. And then I'll answer any questions that you have. How does that sound? That sounds great. Don't forget to re-ask permission to approach. After I've built rapport, right when I'm actually, even though we've insulated them and told them we're going to approach them, I'm going to say, okay, so great. At this point, with your permission, I'd like to go ahead and take a quick exam. Does that sound okay? Okay, great. Mentally prepared, ready. Now you can touch me. Don't be passive. By the way, there's a don't up top. These are not, don't read the bullet point. Add a don't to the front. It's Dr. Jones. Why is he saying to be passive and aggressive? No. Don't be passive. Don't be aggressive. You want to be directive. A confused mind says what? Either nothing or no. Anytime someone isn't sure, they're not going to say yes today. So most doctors, because you're so smart, and you guys are generally geniuses in this room, you went through like 37 years worth of training or whatever it is, you're in a whole different world compared to the average human's brain. You have a tendency to be like, well, you know what you can do is you can do A, which would look great, but you could also consider B, and C wouldn't be terrible, and I'm not so sure about D, but I consider E. So let me know what questions you have. The answer to them is, well, I think I'm going to go to another consultation. They're coming to you because they want an answer. Give me something directive. You know, you can do A, you could do B, and you could do C, Barbara. If you were my sister, if you were my daughter, I'd really recommend B. I really think it's the best option for her. I want you to be aware medically of what's possible, but I would strongly recommend B. You've just sold B. That's a sale. They trust you. You're the doctor. You don't need to sell. All you have to do is tell them what you'd recommend. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, next one. There we go. Dr. Jones, couple others before we wrap up. Okay, thank you very much. Dr. Dones, don't assume they know what the results will be. When you do the physical exam and approach them, the very best facelift surgeons are amazing, and this is something I think a lot of the doctors know. I've learned this being in the industry. They can take the face where they do that lift thing, and the person looks like $1 million. And you don't want to do it in a fake way to make them look perfect if perfection is impossible. Maybe they have heavy skin, or maybe there's other limitations, but really show them in the mirror what's possible. When you're explaining the nose, don't, simplify the language a little bit. We're going to turbinate this, and we're going to deviate septum that, and you've got a depressor septi. All they think is you're diagnosing them with some sort of depression. Explain what it is. You know how your tip droops while it smiles like this? That's going to stop as soon as I nip this. Make sense? Uh-huh. Great. See how you have a bump there? See how humpy it is? Gone. Straight. Get it? Yes. So show them as much as you can physically, and use very simple language for the layperson. Stay standing. Don't stay standing. Sit again. The physical exam is done. You've built rapport. You've asked permission to approach. You've insulated them. You showed them, as we say, the money shot, exactly what they're going to look for. Use simple language. Now we're going to not just say, great, so what else? Any other questions? No? No? We're going to go and sit back down like a duck on water, like we don't have a care in the world. And we're going to sit down, and we're going to ask, we're not going to forget to ask for their questions 3 times. We're going to say, great, so I think you got a pretty clear picture that I'm recommending option B. What questions do you have? And I asked an open-ended question, not do you have any questions? The first time it's got to be open-ended. Do you have any questions? No. What questions do you have? What we're doing is we're helping them to realize they don't. We're getting their head to admit, I don't have any. Now maybe they have 1 or 2. You answer those questions, then you say again, anything else that you can think of? No? You sure? Okay. So 3 times, A, B, C, 3 times you ask them. The doctors that do their own consultations, I've always learned, they come to me and they say, well, even though I understand what you're saying, John, I like doing the whole thing myself, and yes, it takes me 6 hours per patient, but the reason I invest the time is a lot of times if I don't do that, I'm afraid they're going to say I didn't spend enough time with them. What I've learned is time is not actual, it's mental. Has anybody been on a plane and they forgot the book, no earphones for the movie, and there was no movie and no food, and it was like only 2 hours, but it felt like a lifetime? And then maybe the very next flight, it was like a 5-hour out to Vegas, but you had a great movie, you got upgraded first class, you have food, and someone interesting is chatting next to you, and you look up and you're done, or you have a ton of work to do on your computer. There's still 5-hour flights either way, but mentally it doesn't feel like it. What we've learned at YellowTelescope, and through Dr. Epstein's practice, is that it's not a matter of the amount of time you spend. I'd say Dr. Epstein spends an average of 4 to 10 minutes with a patient. Once in a while a little more, sure, there's those chatty people, sometimes even a little less. But when you ask someone 3 times if they have any questions and they say, no, I don't, nope, nothing at all, yep, I'm sure. And by the way, if you have any questions, feel free to contact John, your patient advisor, or he can send me an email and get any answers. They can't possibly leave and say, well, he didn't spend much time with me. Because they're going to say, well, gosh, he asked me like a bunch of times. I had literally not a single question left. He answered everything I had. And by doing so, you have a happy patient. Can we advance? Don't be afraid of sales. This is my mantra, certainly. I think sales is a wonderful thing. As a doctor, we're not going to be doing the sales as a physician, but we are going to be doing things that affect the sale. For example, build a little urgency at the end. It's okay to let people know you're busy. It's okay to do that. I'll say, John can get you a little information on pricing and availability. He handles all that. I don't do any of the pricing or anything. Hopefully we can find something open within your window. We do have a pretty hectic practice here, but John will do his best for you. Just say, hey, you may want to get scheduled because I'm not that bored right now. Build a little value, be a little humble at the same time. It's okay to build yourself up a little bit and show a little confidence. If you're just like, look, I'm the best, if you don't pick me, I don't even know what you're thinking, that's going to be a turnoff, and that's not true. But if you're able to build a little confidence with a little bit of humble built in there, you're going to do great. You're going to say, I'm not going to suggest that I'm the only option. I mean, there are other doctors. Anyone telling you that the only good one is not being truthful with you. But you know what? I really feel very confident in your case. I can definitely help you achieve your goals, and it'd really be a pleasure to have you as a patient. A little bit of confidence goes a long way. Nobody wants to pick someone who's like, would you like to do my nose? Ugh, gosh, I'm not so sure about it. You're tough. I'm pretty new to this. I just hope I don't screw it up. Be confident. Mrs. Smith, I take every patient outcome extremely serious. I take a lot of pride in the results that we achieve here. My team, really take a lot of pride in them. I'm extremely confident we'll be as good as anybody else you can select. It's a little bit of value, a little bit of humble. It's like, look, we're not the best, the only, but we're very, very good. Some final advanced tips. In general, you need to have an amazing patient advisor. If you're the only people who really, really affect your income are you. So if you don't do good work, you don't treat people well, or you screw up your consultations, you're going to go out of business. And then your senior-most individual who's meeting every patient face-to-face. There is a limit to what you should pay that individual. There's got to be a cutoff. But if there's any place to invest, before lasers, before advertising, before the Society magazine, before all the extra computer systems and stuff that sounds so good in that conference center, find someone amazing. And if you don't, hire someone. Yes, we do that, but you don't have to hire us. Hire someone to find someone amazing, because it really affects everything. We have actually Ed sitting up front, who's one of our top guys. For the last 3 years, after he went through the International Baccalaureate program, went into Wake Forest, and went into real estate for a number of years, and he worked together with me running my old company before I started working with Doc way back at this point. He sold over $3 million a year worth of surgery, and that includes split commissions and so on with other people, but personally about $2.5 million every year for 3 or 4 years. He gets paid a lot, but man, he's worth it. And to me, as I said, it's the definition of value, is someone who's worth what you're paying. Recommend what you feel is best, but take into account the patient's goals and budget. Like I said in the beginning, it's a skill to do that, develop it. Hire professionals. You guys trained for 33 years or whatever it is. How good are you guys at what you do after the training? You're still coming to trainings now. All I do all day is just breathe sales and management organizations. All I do, like 50, 60 hours a week, all I do all day. You can't keep up with me on that topic. I can't keep up with him on rhinoplasty or hair. I went to a finance school, but I put my money with a financial manager, because one thing I learned going to financial school is that if you can't spend 50 hours a week doing your finances, you can't manage them that well. So, and then last, take a deep breath before you go into each consult. Eat something. Eat a damn smoothie, fellas and ladies. I know you're hungry. It's almost like a masochistic thing with doctors. They're like, I haven't even eaten today. And you kind of like it. You're like, yeah, I'm awesome. Look at me rock out today. Well, no, you're going to die younger. Eat something and eliminate the pity party. We don't eat either. That's what your patient advisors don't tell you. I go consult to consult to consult to consult, and I'm like 6 o'clock too, and I'm like, oh, why didn't I eat? I get low blood sugar. I start yelling at my staff. Doc's yelling at his staff. Have your person always have a smoothie on hand. I know you have $6. Have them smoothie king you right in the face as soon as you walk out. I don't want to eat it. Get some food in you. You'll feel better. Get rid of the self-pity. You're not that busy. You do get paid well, so these, as I say, are the good old days. In 10 years, 20 years, you'll be looking back being like, I wish I was like that again. So embrace the fun of what you're doing. Have fun, it shows, and sales is a transference of feeling. So when you're excited, you transfer your excitement to others, and that's how you get people to book with you. Thanks so much.